not quantitative. So when you have a mode, you can still calculate that. If you have qualitative data, and you can't do that with the mean and the median, because you can't really add Texas and South Dakota together and divide by 2. So anytime you have qualitative data, mode is really the only option that you have. So we can still find the mode for qualitative data. This is the only time we will do anything with qualitative data in this chapter, though, because everything else involves, arithmetic, and you can't do that with states. So, let's see what it looks like. Right. Let me see if I can. Okay. So, I've got mine printed out, and I'm just going to tally them up and see how many I have, rather than try to write them out again. I think this should be on your notes. Yeah, on the next page over, you've got a state listed. So this should be underneath of your state listed with the tally and the frequency. I'm just going to, yeah, I'll do the tally just so I don't, okay. So let's see. So, Massachusetts, Virginia, New York, This is a little outdated because I don't know when it cuts off. The last one I have is Joe Biden, so. Not too bad. Okay. All right, so I just went through and tallied all of the ones that I saw, and I'm just going to count them up. You could have gone through and said, let me count the Massachusetts and count 3 of them, and then count Virginia and count them and everything like that. This one I just wanted to be sure I didn't miss any. 1, 4, 2, 3. Okay, so let me see. We've got 3 rows, 3 columns. 1, 2, 16 rows times 3, but then we have one that's empty, so I'll subtract 1 off. So we've got 47 altogether is what we should have. So we should have 47 values. So if I count, or if I add all of my frequencies, so if I add all of my frequencies up, I get 47. So that's good. It's a way to double check to make sure I didn't miss any, especially when there's so many of these things. So frequencies should add to 47 because there are 47 vice presidents listed. Okay. So now that we've done that, we've got our frequency set out. You can see the largest frequency that we see is 8, and that happens for New York. So in this case, our mode is going to be so it's not a number, but we can still have a mode even though we have qualitative data. So if we didn't have this 8 and this 4 and we were looking for a mode, then the highest we would see is 3, and then it would be tied. And in that case, our mode would be Massachusetts, Vermont, and Ohio. You would have all 3 of them listed because all 3 of them are tied for first place. That would be if you didn't have the 8 or the 4 listed. So here's just a brief synopsis of what measure of central tendency to use in which place. So if we start at the bottom here, the mode, the one that we just did, it's the most frequent one that you would see. So this one, usually you'll use it if it's qualitative data. Just because it's qualitative data, you can't do anything else with it. Or if they specifically want to know which one happened most often. But this one we don't use as often as the other ones, unless they specifically ask you for the mode. And then we've got the mean. The mean's the most popular one. When people say average, they usually are talking about the mean. And they say the interpretation is the center of gravity. So if you have a number line, basic concept between, so if you have a number line here, and you've got your data points listed on the number line like that, and their weights, all equal weights. The mean is basically, if you put your mean like right here, if you put your fulcrum right there on that board, where is the place that it would balance and not tip over on one side or the other. So if you had a number line as a board, and then you put weights at each of your data points, your mean is the place that you would put your fulcrum so that it wouldn't tip over one way or the other. So that's like the idea behind what the mean represents. So you'll use that most of the time because that's the most popular one. The times you don't want to use it are if you have something that has extreme values one way or another. And that's because the mean is not resistant. And if you throw in extreme values, it's going to kind of throw off what your mean is, and it doesn't really do a good job of representing most of the data values. So anytime you have something that's skewed, that means you're going to have extreme values, great or small. And so in that case, anytime something is skewed, you want to use the median instead. So if it's skewed left or right, you're going to use the median. And the median, like I said, it divides it in half. So you've got half your data values are larger than it, half the data values are smaller than it. So if it's skewed, you want to use the median. But if it's not skewed and it looks roughly symmetric, then you can go ahead and use the mean for that one. So on homework problems, if they ask you which measure of central tendency should you use, it's basically you're looking to see if it's skewed or not. If it's skewed, you need to use the median. If it's not skewed and it's symmetric, then you can go ahead and use the mean. I think that takes us to 3.2, but before we do that, I want to